Good morning. Welcome to the GL52 Super Series Regatta number 3 of our summer series here in Harbor Springs. I'm Farley Fontenot, and we are coming live from the race course. We've got just 2 minutes and 30 seconds left before the start. They're in their pre-start sequences right now. Going into the last day, we have Robert Hughes on the Heartbreaker with 15 points, John Hune on the Katana with 18, and the Wizard, Peter Askew on the Wizard with 20. Very interesting day as we now see a northeast, more easterly breeze, 60 degrees, almost 180 degrees for what we've seen the last 2 days. So it's an entirely different race course, and very seldom do we ever race in this condition. So there's not a whole lot in everybody's playbook for how to handle the course. So it'll be an interesting race, no doubt. 1 minute and 50 seconds. Going from the committee boat to the pen, WindQuest. Then there's Natalie J. and the Wizard with the stars on her sail. Bob Hughes and the Heartbreaker, Katana, and Chris Duhan from Key Largo, Florida, in the Mockingbird. All the boats are setting up. We got 1 minute and 20 left to go. WindQuest making a play for the pin. Duhan now underneath her. She heads up. She takes a little nibble over to port. Bob Hughes also on port. Coming in between the, where'd she go? No. Coming in between the WindQuest and Mockingbird. Pretty thin lane for Bob to set up in. WindQuest takes a little bit of nibble to port. 47 seconds to go. That's the Wizard on the top end at the boat with the stars on her sail. We've got a very interesting here with 30 seconds to go. We've got 2 boats on port. They're both nibbling. That's the 3 boats. Got the Katana, the WindQuest, still on port, WindQuest and Katana with 22 to go, tacking over. Kind of bow out. Both boats are bow out. Katana wants it's going to probably have to take a bow down. WindQuest is in a vulnerable spot with 10 seconds to go. She's going to have to put bow down. Here we go. All bows are down. Getting ready for them to set up as we go. 4, 3, 2, 1. Great start by the whole fleet. As they go from the pin to the boat, it is Mockingbird, the Heartbreaker, Katana, WindQuest, with Natalie J. and Wizard, all on starboard tack. Regatta winner Bob Hughes in a tough spot here, kind of sandwiched in between the Katana and the Mockingbird, and the Mockingbird's going to make it pretty difficult for him to live there. WindQuest has a nice hold thin on the Katana, and Natalie J. is trying to snuggle up to the Wizard. With these short races, these starts are so important for these guys up the beat. And as we've talked in the last couple of days, the tack count up the first beat is so crucial when we do our debriefs in the morning. It's amazing. Most boats that win the first beat, not always, but most, have the least amount of tacks. WindQuest doing a good job with Natalie J, putting her in a thin spot now. She is going to probably be the first boat out. Robert Hughes is being shut out the back between the 2 boats, has to get out. Now he tacks. Natalie J will probably go on to Bob if they can't get to him. She tacks underneath him. So the first 2 boats going to the right is the Natalie J and the Heartbreaker. We've got about 7 knots of breeze, 8 knots of breeze from 66 flat water because the water's now coming the breeze coming right off the shore. We had rain clouds on and off this morning, but we never saw any rain. We have a couple of fronts going to north of us, and that is what's actually kind of generating this east-northeast wind flow. Got the 4 boats all steadily going. You got the Wizard, the WindQuest, Katana, and the Mockingbird on the bottom. One thing about starting at the pin with this short course, you're kind of dictated by the boats above you. So there are Mockingbirds in the place. He's got to wait for all these guys to go out. Wizard doing a great job of getting off the group as she's the top boat of that four. WindQuest now showing a little vulnerability. She's falling in and she's out. Tacks over, and now she is on port. Wizard will make the choice whether she's going to go on the WindQuest or not. She decides to hang in there. So we now have 3 and 3. We've got the Natalie J, the Heartbreaker, and the WindQuest on port. And still on starboard is the Wizard, who's now dictating the Katana and the Mockingbird. They can't go until she goes, or they take a chance of getting hit on. Kind of overcast day here today. Almost a little chill in the air, which we haven't seen. Katana tacks out of that corner. As predicted, the Wizard tacks right on her, as those boats are second and third in the series right now. Natalie J really working hard to get to Bob Hughes to try to get him out of there so that they can tack when they want to. And they're gaining gauge all the time on him. Or Galati driving the Natalie J is doing a great job of, he and mainsail trimmer Dave Schreiner, of getting the boat up and going until it gets a little slow, then puts the bow down, and they're slowly biting up to Bob. Katana tacks back out as she could not live underneath. Could not live behind the Wizard. Chris Duhan still going upwind left. It's going to be a hard push for Natalie J to get up to Bob. There's nice separation. Bob doesn't like it. Not enough for Bob. He's out too. So Bob now is on port. I'm going to call that mid-beat. Middle of the beat. Bob is on port. WindQuest goes back to port. Maybe that was a ship. Yeah, it is a little bit of a shift. So they both took the shift over, and so does Natalie J. WindQuest ducks the Wizard. Wizard's hanging in there. It's a good shift for the Natalie J, as she is now the top boat on the lift. Wizard the only boat on port. All the other boats on starboard crossing in the middle of the beat. Wizard probably couldn't get to Bob, so she tacks under there. All boats are now in phase, it seems like, on the starboard tack. The Mockingbird is getting dangerously close to the port tack ley line. She hasn't tacked since the start of the race. There must be a little bit of a wind shift as Carol Ewing, our race committee chair, is moving the bottom mark and rotating to this little upwind righty. As predicted, Chris Duhan from that corner, the left corner, just tacks. Katana tacks, probably 8 boat lengths between them. WindQuest keep the top 4 boats. Wind coming from the bottom to the top. WindQuest, Wizard, Heartbreaker, and Natalie J continue on starboard. Actually, these guys are coming off on a nice little angle here. I don't think they're laying. But it's not enough an angle for the top 4 boats to tack on it. They'd be quite happy to get over there. will kind of start the whole tacking progression. It's been a good lift for both the Natalie J and the Heartbreaker. It seems like because they were a little higher on the course, they're getting more of the lift than, let's say, the WindQuest is down low. Terry Hutchins got to make the decision here as he approaches the Katana, and then as they're getting dangerously close to the port ley line of where he's going to take the tack, because he's pretty sure the Wizard's going to hit on him when he does. WindQuest crosses in front of the Katana. Looks like she's going to cross easily in front of the Mockingbird. Mockingbird tacks before Mockingbird coming out for a little bit more. I mean, she may have a minute and a half to the port ley line, so she's coming back out to it. She tacks underneath the WindQuest. You're looking here at the Natalie J as she has had a good port tack lift all the way over here. I mean, starboard tack lift all the way over here. Kind of gotten off of Bob, who is right under her. And the port tack boat crossing behind them is the Katana. The group is going to push this port tack ley line. It's going to be a stack up. They're getting very, very close here. Boar and Bob are quite content just to go all the way to the port ley line and then tack on these guys and lead them in. As we approach here, the Wizard goes, I'm done. I need to lay the mark. So she goes. WindQuest goes, probably slightly overstood, and and Chris Duhan, I'm sure is overstood. Like I said, it's a tough decision when you're got a boat over you and you're getting close to the ley line. Do you try to go over the ley line so you're not as hampered coming in? Bob tacks, Natalie J tacks. Who has done a nice job here is the Katana. She goes all the way to the starboard ley line. She was pretty far back, but she now gained some runway as she's not going to overstand as the WindQuest and the Mockingbird has. Probably Wizard called it right on, or very, very close. She may be overstood by boat length. It's going to be interesting here because Bob now is on a nice lift. I don't know if the Natalie J can actually get to him. Wow, that's impressive. Bob Hughes just sheared right off of the Natalie J and right in front of the Wizard. And Bob Hughes will be the first boat to the mark. Some interplay going here, some talk. Here we go. Bob Hughes comes in. Now we've got Wizard on port, Natalie J on starboard. Wizard's going to try to get in there very, very close. She does get in there. That is Peter Askew on the Wizard. Gets in front of Natalie J. Natalie J rounds. Katana now has basically did that with that starboard tack, with that final starboard tack and not overstanding. Interesting play here. Mockingbird tacks. She'll be the fifth, and WindQuest will be the sixth boat around the mark. Bob Hughes already with the red chute up at the offset, followed right behind the Wizard and the Natalie J. As we start the run down, Chute goes up on the katana. Looks like the WindQuest is setting up for a job set. They'll be the first boat to actually job set out of there. The Mockingbird Bearway sets. Chute is up. There they go. And here goes the WindQuest as she's set up for the job set. Chute's up and open and full. 7-gram trimming the chute on the WindQuest. As we said, this thing, we have no prior. Very seldom do we ever race in this with this wind direction. So there's a lot of, I'm not going to say guessing, but now it's more of a kind of just playing the ships as they come across the bow. We see the 5 lead boats on the Bearway set on starboard. Terry Hutchin on the WindQuest with Doug DeVos steering, job sets, and is heading to the downwind left. Bob Hughes did a really unbelievable job of getting off of the Natalie J. We're probably just at the middle range or the bottom range of the J15 and the A15. A1s and the A1s for sure are a little smaller than the 1.5 spinnakers, and the J1s are deeper than the J15 jibs. Terry's going to come back over now. Jibs rolling up, taking a hitch in. At the same time, Duhan drives over. This will be interesting as they were very, very close at the mark to see who paid here. Bob Hughes drives out too. The leader said he's going to come across. It looks like a loss for the WindQuest as there must be just a little more breeze down there. You see the Mockingbird has probably put 15 yards, 20 meters on her. Oh, more than that. Probably put 3 boat lengths on her. It's a tough call. Natalie J is out, leaving the Wizard and the Katana to go to the downwind right corner. These guys are crossing in a 76 wind direction. It should have been good for Terry with that direction, but I think he just got into a light spot at the top of the course. Natalie J kind of pushing hard to get some ground on Bob, but Bob is really poked out there in a good spot. Manu Willa, who's calling tactics for Bob, has done a good job of placing him where they let the boat do what it does best. Wizard over now, and kind of coming in from the downwind right. Carol Ewing, the race committee chair, is just letting all the teams know that they're going to move the weather mark. Actually, not moving it, but shortening it as we're getting a little. We're getting a little. The breeze is lightening up as we knew it would when it warmed up. She shortened it 1/10 of a mile. So on the port job line is a Wizard. Bob Hughes jabs over from the middle of the course to come out. The Wizard and the Katana both are on really good down angles coming across here to the mark. In fact, if anything, the Katana is on the verge of overstanding, having to heat it up a bit, which is not a bad place to be in the light air. Top three boats of this race are the top three boats in the series, right? I mean, in the regatta. It's going to be very close between the Wizard and the Heartbreaker. Heartbreaker on starboard as she comes across. A little activity on the Wizard. Wizard's gonna take is actually heating up. She's gonna duck. Bob's rolling his sail, is rolling up his staysail as he's gonna jibe on her, maybe not giving her that opportunity. And now the Wizard heads down. So those boats are overlapped. So you see the Wizard there underneath the red chute of Bob Hughes, trying to get down to get some leeway. Bob bow up to get some speed out of the jibe. Wizard probably is going to come back up the whole time. The Katana is the one kind of smiling at this as they haven't had to do that little fighting there. Bob now a couple of jabs in more than the Wizard and Katana. WindQuest is on their line behind them. Breeze is lightening up as we come down. It's cooling. I mean, it's warming up, and as it warms up, the breeze is going to die and then shift almost 180 degrees. So Carol's trying to get this race off before we have the light shift and then the wait for it. I mean, the breeze is shut down and then shift up to the opposite direction. Katana doing a great job right now of getting deep into a hole. This thing is going to be a really tight rounding. Thing's going to be a really tight gate crossing as the boats are getting down there. The top three boats are all going to be very, very close. All three of them on port jibe. I would assume that Bob is laying. If not, he's struggling to get down. He's to get over the Wizard for room, and that will actually give the Katana. Bob and the Wizard are probably going to go to the left gate, left turn. This will give the Katana a little bit of leeway to get into the right gate. Here comes the Natalie J, who was so in the hunt, and then she went in the middle of the course and now is kind of lost out to the three leaders. But she's she's coming in with a good pace. She may throw a little bit of a wrench in one of these boats. Bob comes in, he's jibing over. Both boats, Wizard jibes right on him. They've changed gates now. They're going to go to the right gate, right turn. Here comes Katana also in the inside. Bob is going to get there first. Chute's coming down. On the red chute comes down. Bob makes his decision. There he goes, left gate. Peter's going to go straight on to the right gate. Probably, if we look how this whole thing is stacked up, Katana will take the right gate, and then Natalie J will take the left gate. There's the Wizard as she rounds the lured mark. Wow, both Katana and Natalie J want the left gate. the right hand side of the course. Interesting. Okay, they're off. Winquest did a good job with the Mockingbird as she will lead in to the gate. She jibes over. She's also going to take right gate, right turn, and Chris will take the left gate. Katana out, tacked over. She had no. She was pretty She was pretty smothered by the Natalie J. Chris shoots down. Winquest waiting to the last moment. Both are virtually neck and neck as they round. Going up beat number 2 now. Race 7. And we're back. Uh, we are probably just at the halfway mark of the second beat of race 7. The whole fleet, except for Chris Duhan, is working their way to the port tack ley line or the port tack side of the course. Wizard is poked out there. Bob Hughes has a great angle up. Wizard has got poked out boat for boat wise. Winquest decides not to go all the way to the corner, and she jacks out to try to stay out of the mayhem. She's 5th in this group of out of the group of 5. If you remember, Bob Hughes was leading at the lure mark with the Wizard. They both switched gates. Wizard looks like it's made a gainer, but we won't know till they exchange. The two middle boats, the Katana is on it, Katana and the Natalie J. Basically, they're in the middle of the two. They're probably set up pretty well. Katana may have kind of was ahead of Natalie J to begin with, and so she looks like she's still ahead. Windquest coming out. This is going to be a pretty crucial setup as all these boats are going to wait for the Wizard to attack and then see where she sets up and what she looks like. See what her angle to the port tack on the port tack ley line is to the weather mark. Breeze is holding in here for us. It's not like it's continued to die. Let me see. I'll tell you exactly what it is. Breeze is at 91 degrees and it's 8.3. So we still have good raceable conditions out here. Little bumpy as the spectator fleet's beginning to come out. Chris Duhan on the far left corner has tacked over. Not on a bad angle. Here goes the first boat to tack. Katana tacks, and it looks like the Natalie J is right on her. As I thought she was ahead, but basically when they tack over. Bob Hughes is waiting for the Wizard. I think he wants to make sure that he can get part of that. Windquest comes back into the pack. She tacks now back onto starboard. Big right shift. 92 shift. It's at 92 degrees. It's a good right shift for the Windquest to come over. Now we got the four boats coming across. Windquest on a nice lift. 90 degrees. She's made some gainers. Not enough to get back into the heart of it, but enough to get back into it that she's got another shot at them. Kind of with this right shift, the Wizard loses contact with the top three. She's got to be patient and wait for that lefty to come back. As we're kind of bumping up to the shoreline up here, you almost kind of worry about it if you get too close, if we get blanketed. But the breeze coming from, it's just a little bit over that shoreline. Breeze at 86 degrees. Or has used his sail plan. He's got a little bigger sail plan than the Katana, and the Heartbreaker has kind of worked himself back into the hunt. Probably closer to Bob Hughes than the Wizard right now. Still out on that left corner is Chris Duhan coming across. He's one tack this whole beat. And he looks like he's in a pretty good spot out there. These guys are, especially with that, now we're looking at 90 degrees. He's in a little bit of a lift going out there and has been the whole way across. You can see these guys bow down on port. Katana gets out. She'd been sitting on a thin, just above the line of the Natalie J. And with this lefty, it's a good time for her to get out and maybe try to get a little bit of free air. Duhan is one tack to most of these guys, 3 and 4 tacks. This may be advantaging him as he comes off that left corner. I'm sorry, the right corner. "93 degrees our wind, man." So we have shifted over when we started at, what will you start at? 71, so now we're 92. This won't put Chris in the lead, but he definitely went from probably next to last to third, maybe fourth, depending on how it is with the Wizard. On the backside of this is going to Windquest, who now is in the far left corner, and we have a big starboard tack lift, and she is going to have a tough time crossing there. I can see the frustration on the leadership of the Windquest, hoping to get a lift out here. Instead, it's a header. For those of us who do a lot of racing, sometimes no matter how hard you try, you just can't seem to find a break. And sometimes I have a feeling that's what the guys on the Windquest said. They've done a great job of coming back into this race, and now they're kind of in the back looking up. Bob Hughes tacks on the starboard tack ley line. Natalie J is tacked on the starboard tack ley line. It still looks like the Wizard will get in between the Natalie J and the Heartbreaker. Getting a little mealy up here at 6.5 knots. Bob has done a great job. He's put, I don't know, 60, 70, 80, 100 yards on, more like 60 yards on the Wizard. Wizard tacks onto the starboard ley line, and she's going to now come right into the mark, two lengths away. Chris Duhan crumbs. He basically has the katana. It's now going to duck him. Chris will probably tack on the katana to preserve his situation there and not let katana get in front of him at the mark. We got the three boats coming in. Natalie J on starboard, the katana and the Mockingbird on port. Little to no duck. A little duck for the katana. Now the Mockingbird will hold the katana up until she tacks. Natalie J around the mark. The last weather mark of this race. The katana and the Mockingbird tack together as they round the mark. Still looking at that 92-degree wind, which makes you want to either jibe set or jibe immediately. And that's just what Bob Hughes has done, and so has the Wizard. There goes the chutes up on the Mockingbird and on the katana. Katana has to be clear of the Mockingbird. She's got to be careful she doesn't get too close in there. Wizard's jibed over. We're about to see, and here goes. Looks like the Natalie J is going to just about 2 or 3 lengths after the offset. Windquest rounds the weather mark. Chris Duhan trying to jibe in, has a problem. Basically, didn't get the clue of the sheet, the clue of the spinnaker around the headstay. It's a slow jibe. They do free it. The katana carries on. Windquest chute up. So the lead 4 boats are on port jibe. Breeze is slowly dying here. At 7 knots, these guys could either be on the 1.5s or the 1s. Katana and Windquest carry on starboard board. Breeze is down to 6.2, but it's gone all the way to 107. So we've seen a huge upwind right shift. This is where it's going to get a little bit dicey because this thing is basically crapping out on us, and if the thing goes to really light, it's anybody's game depending on the last half of this run. Katana and the WindQuest with good speed right now. Same with the leaders. Doing 7.5 knots downwind. Yeah. I would have checked. I was sure you put one on every night. Oh, we're having battery difficulties here. Katana jibes right here at us. She's got a nice puff. Breeze at 109 now. It's a nice angle for the Katana. And it seems like, and it's hard for us to tell, but we could be in just a touch more pressure down here than they are on the other side of the course with the leaders of the Heartbreaker, Wizard, and Natalie J. WindQuest also goes. Breeze is now 110. Well, they got to go. They're laying. Bob Hughes on the Bob Hughes jobs. Like we said, not a great angle for them, and they're not really that loaded up. As I said, it's a tough leg for the tacticians right now. The Katana, the old platoon, which won the 52 Super Series in Europe 2 years ago, very quick light air boat. And right now we're looking at light air, flat water as we come to the finish of race 7. This is going to be close. You can see here that we're here with the Heartbreaker and the Wizard, and you can see the other two boats, the Katana and the WindQuest, at the top of your screen. Katana has stepped out on the WindQuest a little, probably gaining 2 lengths on her already. It's going to be, I'm sure Bob is worried, but it still looks like Bob on the Heartbreaker has still got a slight lead. They're struggling to keep down, though. The boats are converging. It seems like Bob is now still ahead. Slow goings for all of the boats here on the course right now. Bob's going to be well ahead of the Katana, but it's enough to scare him. Wizard does a good job of hanging right there with Bob the whole way across, saying with the Heartbreaker. Tana is a special boat in light air, and she's shown it on this run. As she's just snuggled up right to the two leaders. Wizard doing its best job to put a blanket on to the Heartbreaker. But there they go. They're going to drive in. Everybody's getting pretty close to the ley line. The Wizard has caught up a lot with the Heartbreaker, but not enough to pass. Natalie J on the far side on starboard jibe, now coming into the group. Ahead of the Wind Quest. Be very close with the Katana. These guys are not on the ley line. They still have one and in all of these boats. There goes the Wind Quest. It's jibing on the Mockingbird. The Natalie J jibes on the Katana. Mockingbird out, going back to port jibe. Wind Quest is now going to go to the true ley line and see if she can get in on the Mockingbird. The lead four are slowly on port jibe, going towards just above just above the committee boat and the line. Like I said, they'll all have to take one and in, a short one. From here, it looks like the pin is favored more than, well, what we call the pin, the right hand mark is a little bit favored or closer to the group than the left hand mark. Wind Quest drives back. Oh, it's a tough light air drive. And the breeze is petering out. If we've got 5 knots right now, I'll be amazed. Slow finish here for this group, and kind of what we figured was going to happen. We're just hoping it would happen a little bit later and they could have finished. Bob is going to take his jibe into the finish. The Heartbreaker, red spinnaker. Okay, yes, she's screaming across the finish line, but as she's getting across the finish line, Bob Hughes will be the first boat to finish race number 7. Wizard taking that same very short jibe in. Nice drive by Peter Askew and his team. Spinnaker's full, which is hard to do right now. And the Wizard will be the second boat to finish. Natalie J now jibes over. Katana's going to drive too. They're both trying to make the finish. Katana is up and she's going. She'll be the third boat to finish as Natalie J has gone underneath and has a really tight angle up. a good plan. It just didn't work well. Katana's the third boat to finish. Natalie J will be the fourth as she crosses the line now. Chris Duhan is jibed over. The Mockingbird and Windquest are going into the line together. Looks like the Mockingbird has a big advantage on the Windquest as he heads down to the mark. Mockingbird is the fifth boat to finish, and the Windquest will be the sixth. We're probably going to have to take a break here. They're going to let this wind die and rebuild from the other direction. So if you'll just stand by, we'll kind of let you know when we're going to do our final race of this series. Until then, this is Farley, and I'm out. Well, hey y'all, Farley here. We're done for the day. Been a tough week here in Harbor Springs due to the fact that we just had very little cooperation from the breeze. Carol Ewing, our race committee chair, has just called it for the day. So I want to thank everybody that watched for watching. And our next regatta is October 5th, the weekend of October 5th in Holland, Michigan. Hopefully, no snow. We'll hope to see you there. This is Farley and I, 3 through 5th, October 3rd through 5th. This is Farley, and I'm out from Harbor Springs. Thanks, everybody.